there are so many thoughts and threads I want to pull on, Julian, but I'm also cognizant of your time, and so yeah, we might have to make a series of these. So maybe I'll ask you two final questions, and I like to ask people, where do they see 5 years from now? But as you pointed out, 14 months ago, a year and a half ago, is when ChatGPT, broke onto the global scene. So 5 years is maybe too long in terms of AI, but where do you think AI will be and we will be as a society with AI in 3 years?
No, that is a really terrifying question. Again, if you had gone back, let's just give a time in space they can remember. COVID has just finished. We're finally allowed out of our houses. We're going back to the office. And I was to say, how do you think your workplace is going to change? Everybody's focus would have been on the work from home, because that was our immediate impact right then and there. Oh, I'm going to be working from home. And we've had a huge societal shift and ongoing debate around what we should be doing. But the reason I bring up that example is that your focus on society shift was so narrow because that was the immediate change that you had seen and where you see it evolving. Right now, when we ask the question of where do we see AI going, it's very easy to kind of, again, follow the logical path of, well, it's going to keep getting smarter and smarter. Each new version, and let's just talk about GPT. There are a lot more AIs out there than GPT, right? There are literally thousands of them. Open source corporate models, Bard, Bing, Midjourney, DALL-E. So let's just talk about ChatGPT for the sake of this discussion. ChatGPT's growth and speed is increasing at faster than exponential rate. Its capability of data source, of data query, of speed, and of price to use. It's priced in what's called tokens. We're not going to unpack that now. Yeah. But when they released ChatGPT 4, and then less than a year, I think it was only something like 7 or 8 months, they released ChatGPT 4 Turbo, which made it significantly cheaper. We're looking at this fast exponential rate. It's not too hard to go, well, we're going to be in a world that the AI will be smarter than me in the next 2 years. And that's really even scary for me to say out loud. But, this is the huge but, just because something is smarter doesn't mean it knows what to do with it. I do not believe we're heading into Terminator, end of the world, it's going to gain sentience. But by the way, intelligence and sentience are two very distinctly different things. And when you speak to AI researchers, you do not gain emotion because you're more intelligent. In fact, many will argue that the more intelligent people become, the less emotional they are. Sorry, maths teachers, I look at you. We look at the stereotypes. And again, everybody in this room watching this knows that was a very badly made joke. Yeah. But when we do look at the research, though, like, emotion doesn't come out of intelligence. And yet when we look at a machine who's upset that the world did these things against it and now it's going to rise up, like when we see those kind of end of world scenarios, we are seeing about emotional response. I am more optimistic than that. The other thing I'm optimistic about is that society is catching up. We will never be ahead, and we have to recognize that, but we are already asking better questions of how we do these things than we did just a year ago and the year before that. So yes, these things are going to get more and more intelligent. We're going to be able to do more and more things. We're going to have more and more risk of not being able to tell what video is real, what text is real. But we're also going to be able to do really, really exciting things with it. What I find really exciting is the changes that you don't expect. What happens when AI works well is it's AI that you don't see. Again, let's move to another stupid analogy. The best special effects are the special effects that you don't see. Like when I watch Star Wars, I go, oh, wow, that was amazing. But I see every special effect. Like that lightsaber is obviously not real. But when I go and now watch every TV show, doesn't matter what you're watching, yes, that set is not real. It's probably green screen. And in fact, what that person's holding probably wasn't real. They're drinking water. They're probably not. You literally don't see the special effect anymore. It has just become part of the experience. That's what we're starting to see now. And by the way, we have it already. It's that AI is not new. We've had lots of AI silently working in the background. Our traffic lights are driven by an AI system that keep them optimized so that we have less traffic flow. That's a silent, a transparent AI. As these things are getting better, we're going to see more and more things. Our self-driving cars, as much as we look at Tesla at the moment and go, who wouldn't trust that with a barge pole, it will get so much better because it now, old AI was brute force data. It's so hard to unpack this, knowing this is meant to be a short question, but it used to just be, we're going to just keep throwing more and more data. We're going to brute force data till we try and understand. What generative AI in all its forms is doing is it's actually now able to understand context. It's able to understand and better iterate upon it. So we're going to see education systems, coaching systems, what Khan Academy are going to be launching with Khan Migo, for those who haven't followed that.
Yeah.
That is not replacing a teacher. This is what I think Khan Migo is brilliant. It's what if we could create a tutor on demand that was written in a Socratic method, is not going to provide answers to the student, but it's connected to this entire database of academic excellence, which in this case is what they're saying is a Khan Academy database, right? So we've got this hopefully non-biased or relatively non-biased data set, but a student can ask, how do I do this? And an AI at any hour of the day can not just take their question, but contextualize it back to them in a way that suits their language, their tone, their level of understanding, and in a Socratic method where it leads them to a response. By the way, that is not replacing a teacher. That's replacing part of a teacher's role. And that's really an important distinction to finish this on. We will lose lots of the parts of our role. That is not a negative, because when I lose that ability to say, it's going to be able to answer those questions, but accurately for that student, I can now spend more time with that student on a one-on-one talking about what drives them and actually finding how to make a really good quality education experience. And that was the dream of the Industrial Revolution. Robots, machinery will make our lives easier. And it has. If there was a zombie apocalypse tomorrow, I'm screwed because I don't know how to fix a car. I don't know how to get an engine working. I don't even know how to siphon fuel out of a tank. But those are all skills that we lost because we got the comfort of the Industrial Revolution. Our new AI revolution is going to bring a new level of comfort. With it will come lost skills that will make us even more prone to a zombie apocalypse. But at the same point, will bring a whole bunch of benefits that will hopefully ensure that we will never have the zombie apocalypse in the first place, because we've already solved all those issues that would have caused zombies to have come. And that is my positive end to this. It's our intelligence, our capacity will significantly increase. We have to be wary, we have to be smart, we have to be informed. But as long as we do those things, we will lose parts of the role that will allow us to focus on the parts of the role that are most important to us. And that is what makes us human.
Wonderfully said. And how quickly we'll forget what we used to have to do, right? And say, oh, remember when we used to have to do the things that...
Have you talked to your child about, remember when you used to have to read an encyclopedia? Remember when you used to have to look up an atlas? Remember when I used to have 15 phone calls before I went to the city to meet up with my friends, that we had everything? But that's old tech. That all disappeared.
Right.
The first season of 24 doesn't work when you introduce a mobile phone to it. So...
I'll have to go back and yes. Yeah.
So it's terrifying. You're watching this go, why didn't he just call somebody? The show would have been over in 1 hour.
24 seconds.
24 seconds. That would have been the entire show. But again, it's a fun way to finish up. But no, as long as technology never replaces humanity, and I know that's a weird thing to say, but humanity is our connection, is our wants, is our loves, is our needs. These are the things that drive us as a species, as a society, as a culture that shapes our environment over time, right? Machines can help or hinder us on that path. War machines have hindered us. Tanks, brilliant invention, awful invention. Internet, you could probably say a bit of both, right? But it's how we as a society move with it. And I do have a belief in society. And it doesn't mean I believe government, but society shapes its government. I have a huge belief in society, and I am genuinely excited where the future will take us. But yeah, I think it's just AI has become more transparent. It will just change more and more of everyday life and allow us to focus on what we call those more important things, whatever that happens to be for you, me, or society as a whole.
Wonderful. And thinking about my 7 and 8 year old children and your 15-year-old daughter, yeah, what the future holds for them is exciting as long as we strike that balance and use. Yeah, I love that sentiment you've outlined there, Julian, around society and society driving government and our decisions as humans. So wonderful. Well, thank you. There's so much in that session. I really enjoyed our discussion as always.
Well, thank you for having me on.
My pleasure. Yeah, thanks again. And I'm sure I will see you at a booth at a conference somewhere, and we'll continue this dialogue. And now I have it on record so that I can say 3 years from now we'll revisit this in 2027. And no, I think
yeah. And when my household has locked me in a room and refused to let me out for my own safety, you can say, Julian, you were wrong.
The zombies outside beg to differ.
Yeah, beg to differ.
Yeah.
So look, I will end up on this. If anybody is excited about this, look, I am a passionate sharer of knowledge. I do love community of practice. I just use the handle EduRidden, EduRidden. If you're on Twitter or Threads or LinkedIn, feel free to go there. It's a fascinating space to watch. And yeah, make sure you find communities of practice that are talking about these things, and hopefully you'll discover some of the fear, but also discover some of the love as well, and see what I can do for you this year. So can't wait to see what people do with it.
Wonderful. Yeah, and look, we'll share those details, and thank you for your time today, but more broadly, the contributions you make back to that community and help inform me and so many others around the world. So great catching up again, Julian. So thank you so much.
Many thanks, Dan.